Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's with Health and Care podcast, episode 22. We're talking about hydration today, and we've got Celeste Cleary here with us today. Hi, Celeste.
Hello, Sue. Hi,
And,
everybody.
we haven't got any friends today, have we, Celeste?
No, it's just us.
Just us. But
Yeah.
that's all right. We've got some friends coming up, actually, so keep watching. We've got more coming. But Celeste is going to run the show a bit today, and I'm just going to be curious. With courage and compassion. Isn't that exciting?
Oh, we've got the C's happening there, Sue.
Yeah. And Celeste is going to run us through why hydration is so important to our health. So I hand over to you, Celeste.
Thanks, Sue. So I got the inspiration for this one when I was just telling Sue I was lined up for a blood donation yesterday, and I had to get my 8 glasses of water in, as they always send you a little reminder for. And I was on glass number 5, and I'm thinking, oh wow, I'm struggling to chug it all down in these cold days. And I thought, oh, light bulb, this would be a good topic for a podcast, because it's one of those things in the cold weather. It's hard to keep up with our fluids, and it's so important. And even in the hot weather, it can be hard to keep up with the fluids because they're going out sweating and all the rest of it as quickly as we're taking them in. So I thought we'd just outline a bit about, why it's so important and what gets in the way and, stuff like that. Talk about.
So why is it so important to keep us hydrated?
So, well, we need water for just about every function in our body. Like, our body's made up of, look, the estimate's anything between 50 and 80% water. And so every function, like our physical function for our muscles and our organs, and, even chewing food, we need saliva to be able to get it down, to be able to rinse our mouth out afterwards so we can keep our teeth healthy. Even our brains, it affects our mood and our thinking. You notice it when you're not well enough hydrated, that you get a bit brain foggy and bit mungery. It affects that as well. So it's every part of our bodies.
Yeah. Well, that's why you get that 3 o'clock lull sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when often you're getting, if you haven't drank enough water in the morning, you're dehydrated at that point, and that's why sometimes you'll reach for chocolate and sweet things to pick up energy because you've got a bit dehydrated.
I hadn't thought about it being a dehydration factor. Actually, I'd sort of thought about having a sugar lull, but maybe it's that, like the can of Coke, that's taken the fluid away as well as giving you a sugar dip after the high.
Yeah, so that's what they say. They say if you're getting those lulls, you've got to really think, how was your morning going with your hydration?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had too many coffees in the morning that you've got a bit depleted? I don't know.
Yes, that's where it can sneak in, the coffees.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's the main crux of why we need to keep our fluids up. And how much to drink, that really depends on the day, the weather, your age, your activity levels. A lot of things influence it, but there's a broad recommendation of 8 to 10 glasses, and a glass being like at least 250 mils a day. So I guess we're looking at like 2 to 2.5 litres on a normal day. And that can be an effort. How do you go with getting your fluid intake, Sue?
Yeah, I can probably do about 1 litre of water per day, but my other fluid intakes does come from sort of either those no sugar caffeinated drinks. So I'm a bit of a Pepsi Max girl. Right. I know, it's terrible. I have an addictive tendency on that point. And then just cups of tea or cups of coffee. So, but I always have a rule that 1 litre has to be water, because I am conscious I'm drinking caffeinated drinks. Yes. So therefore I am dehydrating, but my total intake in a day would probably generally be over 3 litres.
Mm-hmm. So you're probably getting across the line there.
Yes. So I rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, right. I think we all do a bit of that, hey? Because the other thing that sneaks in on us, and people might not be aware of it, but is the sweet drinks. that actually have a diuretic effect on our system as well. So, that think we're doing the right thing having a chalky flavored milk. It's milk, it's got protein and calcium, but it's also got, I don't know how many teaspoons of sugar. I did intend to check it before the podcast, but it's significant. And those sugar-laden drinks really can have an osmotic effect that draws water out of our system as well. So that's something to be aware of. You can't really count them.
I am quickly doing a search right now to go how many teaspoons of sugar in chocolate milk.
Awesome.
I will be your research.
I'll stay tuned. So
maybe we should put bets on how many teaspoons of sugar.
Yeah, it depends how big it is. If it's one of those 750 ml ones, imagine it's got a few tablespoons in it. I'm reckoning 10 teaspoons.
Well, in 1 cup, so 240 mils of chocolate milk can contain up to 3 teaspoons of added sugar. So 240 mils is, that's 1 cup.
That's a tiny bottle. I don't know if they even make the bottles that small. I think 300 mils is the smallest size.
Yeah, so that's really bad though, because if you think about the 500 mil to 750 mil, so that would be 3 times that amount. So effectively, if you got a bottle of chocolate milk to have with your pie, which can I say you see a lot of workmen doing.
Yes.
They're having 9 teaspoons of added sugar. That drink.
Yeah, that's considerable, isn't it?
That's pretty bad, because you wouldn't stick 9 teaspoons of sugar in your mouth.
No. Oh, that'd take a bit of getting down.
It'd be very dry and it'd be very unpleasant.
Yeah. So how do we know when we are getting enough fluid intake?
Our urine's clear. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah. That really is the best indicator. I mean, because first, we're actually already dehydrated once we feel thirsty. That's our body's way of telling us, isn't it? That, hey, you need to shove more water, throw more water down here. So, really our pee is a good indicator. And there's actually a little chart. I was going to pop it in the links with this that you can access online to see what colours, what sort of grades of straw to yellow is acceptable, and where it becomes that that line that you're actually getting a bit dry and you need to up the water intake through to dark amber. So are we going to put up a link to a urine assessment? Yes, that's it. A very simple one. Yeah, they've even got one at when I went and gave blood. They had them on the loo door in the bathroom at blood bank. Awesome. So they're keeping us on the straight and narrow there too. But it is a very handy indicator. We'll pop that link in. Awesome. And any ideas about what happens when we don't get enough water? Oh, it's just not, because we're such water beings at the end of the day, it just affects so many aspects of our health and wellness. It sure does. As you mentioned, like your thinking, your gastrointestinal system needs water to function, to have peristalsis. Your bowels need it for movement. Yep. You'll dry up like a stuck old thing if you get constipated and nasty bowels. Yes, yeah. Which is an issue for a lot of our elderly people who are, it's a challenge sometimes keeping the balance there with the water. You don't want to be running off to the loo every 5 minutes, and so we tend to not drink as much, and then that brings other issues in terms of not having enough water in the system to keep the bowels going. So it's most uncomfortable. Well, I know just because I've been working in a lot of aged care facilities, and, a lot of older people won't drink water after midday because they don't want to be up all night. Yes, yeah. Yep. But they're not drinking enough in the morning to get them by. And if they're on diuretics. Yeah, and also because, you need fluids to keep your skin healthy too. Yeah. Yep. And and they've already got, because their skin's older and it's lost collagen and keratin, and then it's dehydrated on top of that, the skin tear factor increases too. Yes, yep. Really catches up with us. But it can be a bit of a balancing act, can't it? Because, when we age, and even unfortunately for some younger people, if you have any organ disease like heart failure or kidney failure or liver failure, that all kind of messes with our ability and our efficiency at excreting water, and our body tends to hang on to it. So there's times there where we need to actually, talk with our doctor and get advice there about what's the optimal amount of water that we should be taking on board. Maybe we need to be letting the scales, a regular jump on the scales at a particular time of the day to see how we're tracking, because otherwise then we'll get the symptoms of too much water in the system.
Yeah. And then you get the opposite, where you get like the fluid sometimes then starts leaking out of the skin where you've got cracks because it can't get out the conventional paths, and then you've got the leaking legs and things like that.
Yeah. That's another issue again.
So perfect hydration. What is that?
Perfect hydration. I haven't come across that one.
I know, but I was just thinking, it's hard, isn't it? So how do we know what works for us?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's being tuned into our bodies, isn't it? Noticing, don't take your phone into the loo. Take notice of what's going on.
But what if I want to take pictures of my urine, Celeste, to compare it on my link?
Yeah, well, you could do that, I suppose. That's a very constructive way of using it, Sue. Trust you to flip it.
Sorry, I can't help it.
Yeah, so I guess it is. It's a matter of knowing our bodies. I mean, there are instances where even younger people who have really exerted themselves a lot. We used to think this was something with marathon and ultra marathon runners, but it has been associated with others who are working in extreme heat, or they're exerting themselves forcefully over a number of hours, and they can actually cause an imbalance with their fluid and their salt status by they've drunk lots of water and stuff like maybe Gatorade or those like energy drinks, but their total water exceeds what their body is actually requiring, and there's other things that get triggered in their neurohormonal response that makes them hang on to water, and then that causes their sodium levels to be relatively low, and they get symptoms of a low sodium, and it makes them really sick. So, there are some delicate balances there, but they are in the minority.
So I guess in our last few minutes, what can we do to make sure we're adequately hydrated for our everyday?
That's a really good question, Sue. So I guess it's building some habits in, isn't it? To, we a lot of people I know have the water bottle on the desk, and they are committed to have, yes, you being one. I have a colleague who has like 2 liters of water that sits on her desk, and she knows she's got to chug through that in the course of her working day. Personally, I find that because I was never much of a water drinker, like as a kid, so I've had to work on it consciously. And what I'll do is every morning I've got a glass of water waiting on the bedside table, so I'd get that down before I even get out of bed. And then before every meal and every snack, I get in a glass of water, and that helps me to get about 2 liters in of water a day. When I can stick to the plan. So that's my thing, but I take it like medicine. It's like that, habit stacking. If I do this one thing I don't really like doing, then I get to do this thing that I really like doing, which is like eating dinner. You got to get the water down first. For others, it's, they just have a water bottle that's handy for them, and something, maybe having cold water in the fridge, or things like that, so that you've always got access to it.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing, and, I guess we've always taught this in healthcare, is that when you feel that you're dehydrated in your mouth and your tongue's really dry and your mouth's really dry, well, that's actually dehydration talking to you. So notice that.
Yes. So it sounds like, so you're saying we need to check in with ourselves, like just do a little push the pause button. and stop
Yep.
and check in and how am I going,
And actually,
that'll affect our thinking as well. Hey.
yeah, exactly. You know, when you're sort of there going, oh, my mouth's really dry. Oh my gosh, it's, 1 o'clock and I've had a cup of tea all day. A cup of tea if you got up at 6 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, it doesn't cut it, does it?
No.
No. So those check-ins are a really good thing. Take our breaks.
Yes. Well, thank you, Celeste.
My pleasure, Sue. Hope that's been helpful to everybody out there.
Yeah, I think it's just a good little reminder of how much fluid have I drank today. Yeah, and am I drinking too much coffee?
Yes.
Probably am. Anyway.
Oh, we can do worse things. But it helps to check in.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. We hope you liked our hydration status conversation. And keep following us. If you've got a topic, let us know, because we're always interested in coming up with these fun little things. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks when we're inspired by another thought. See you soon.
Looking forward to that. See you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.